So, this is the Indiana Fever team, or some players on the Indiana Fever team. Obviously, Celeste Taylor is gone. Maya Caldwell plays for the Dream, and I have absolutely no idea who this is. But this is most of the team. Let's just zoom in. And unfortunately, I'm sorry, Grace Berger, you didn't play enough minutes to make it into the team, and Saxton just about got in there in the back in the team picture for this video. But I do want to talk about this team right here, and a big reason. One thing that this team had that we just didn't see from a lot of other teams, and we're still seeing it to this day, and this team has had to deal with, like, so much crap. They've had to deal with so much crap. They've had to deal with a lot of the media stuff. Heck, they've even had to deal with Christine Brennan trying to screw them over for answers for their book. Like, heck, even Grace Berger hadn't really played, and she's been trying to, like, asked to try to get sound bites for her book from Christine Brennan, who I still think the WNBA's talk about her was a little bit crazy, but still it's rough. As well as that, you're looking at the most professional team in the WNBA. I do want to give a shout out to the Minnesota Lynx, because after obviously some of the Cheryl Reeve stuff, especially at the start of the year, but like none of the players ever did anything. Like, if you want to look at just top tier professionals in this league, Fee Collier is that. And then, again, I have absolutely no issue with, like, Breanna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, Jonquel Jones, like, none of the Liberty players. I don't have issues with, like, it's a lot of teams, but it is the Aces who show, like, the Aces show a severe lack of professionalism, as well as a couple of players in the league. And the Chicago Sky, like, if we want to look at what not to do in the dictionary, as far as being a professional sports team, everything from the Chicago Sky. And I'm not just talking about the players, I'm talking about the highest of higher ups to everything down. That's what not to do as a professional sports team. But we're seeing it now, even on social media, everybody attacking players. And the worst thing is everybody be like, oh, it's the Indiana fans that are the worst, it's the worst. Like, Erica Wheeler has now basically said she has to step off, she's going to step off social media, which is the right thing to do. I don't understand why people are like, this is a cry for help. Like, this is what athletes should do. Like, for the first time, I don't really know. I just plan to spend time with my family. I think we all need a break. I'm probably going to get off social media for a bit. Like Kelsey said, it was a lot with my eyes. You got to have thick skin, but my thick skin was tested up. At the same time, I think for the most part, we was very professional, which they were. Like, I cannot stress that enough. The professionalism showed by this team, because it could not have been easy, especially in a league where the vast majority of players are chronically online. That's the truth. And Aaliyah Boston, the way she was the first person really that had to deal with the LeBron effect. I'll call it the LeBron effect, the LeBron teammate effect. When you're a teammate of LeBron and you're stinking it up, you're getting it bad on social media. It's the LeBron teammate effect. And, like, Aaliyah Boston's an incredibly smart person. She noticed early in the year where it's like, they're going, like, you are the best thing in the world when you're playing well, and when you're not playing well, you're going to get attacked. And I think 22 learned that early enough in her career. Like, you can see interviews from her in Iowa basically saying, like, you cannot let online people control your career. It doesn't matter. You got to ignore it. Whether they're saying positive things or negative things, you've got to ignore it. And I think that kind of rubbed off on this team, who stayed as professional as can be, because in a league where players are chronically online, and I'll use the word terminally online, this was the one team, this was the one team that had to deal with a lot of the crap that weren't. And, like, I will say, like, the Lynx weren't chronically online. I don't even think the Liberty were chronically online. Like, a lot of people I know don't like Breanna Stewart. I have no issue. Like, I don't understand why. Like, I don't think, unless she'll never say any, like, she just plays basketball unless she's asked otherwise. Like, I get it why people don't like the Aces. The Aces are trying to, like, have Becky Hammond as a coach in the Hamby situation and everything. And heck, the Sparks, from a professional standpoint, the Sparks players were professional. The organization wasn't. But even you see right here, Kelsey Mitchell, even with all the crap basically from people trying to tell her you need to disown Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Temi, Lexi, Kate Martin, Jada, Gabby Marshall, and Caitlin Clark reposts Kelsey Mitchell. So not only that, like, it is there. I think there's a near 0% chance Kelsey Mitchell's gone. I would love to keep Erica Wheeler around as, like, a third stringer. Like, you can give her like a not 100K, 75K a year contract. Like, instead of retiring, come back and just play another year and be a vet. That would be great for this team. And obviously with Nalissa Smith, there's a lot of crap that goes on with her that's not really her fault. Like, if you look back in 2023, there were a lot of issues with her because of the stuff her parents were tweeting, her family were tweeting, between her and Aaliyah Boston, trying to cause some sort of a rift in the team. And then you've got the likes of Katie Lou and Christy Wallace, who, as far as basketball stuff is concerned, there is no people that got more hate than these two, especially her, especially Christy Wallace. Like, you got to give some credit for the professionalism of Christy Wallace, especially dropping 17 points in the last regular season game and then getting no minutes in the playoffs. Christy Wallace was the perfect professional. She came in and just played and actually got her Olympic medal. But I don't ever want it to be the case where there is an issue with professionalism. I will always say this when it comes to pro sports. The WNBA, like I tweeted this out. I said, the WNBA is such a bad professionalism problem that if a team stays professional, doesn't allow social media to control the narrative and focuses on basketball, like the Fever, they are considered to be a problem for the league by the fans and even some players. And I mean that. When I say some players, I mean some players. But this is a league that's been so unprofessional that professionalism is a problem. But yet, even though it was the hardest thing in the world to stay professional, and I'll say this, like, obviously the Fever got the worst of all the stuff, whether it be from online, whether it be from other teams. And, like, these players, you can tell by Erica Wheeler's interview, these players, I don't even think, knew what Alyssa Thomas said. Like, they were, like, Erica Wheeler was like, she just looked surprised. Like, I don't think these players knew what Alyssa Thomas said. Like, that is how much they were, we don't care about this stuff. But we've seen it in the NBA. Like, LeBron James' Zero Dark 30, where he doesn't look at social media or read anything or do anything in the playoffs, where he just read the Hunger Games. He spent the thing reading the Hunger Games and probably didn't read the Hunger Games. Pretended to read it. But, like, we've seen that in the NBA where it's like, we hear Popovich talking to his players, be like, do not go on social media, do not do this. I'll do all this stuff. And this team did it. They did it. They showed a level of professionalism, especially, like, it's easy when you're the Lynx when nobody cares about you, even, no matter how good or bad you are, no one cares, no offense to the Lynx. The general population doesn't care. So it's easy to be professional when it's like that. It's not easy to be professional when you are in a situation like the Indiana Fever were in. And we saw how bad it can go with the Chicago Sky. We saw what happened with the Sky. And we saw what happened when there's a lot of hate, when there's a lot of other stuff, and you don't deal with it in a professional manner. It can spiral and go completely out of control. And I got to give credit to this whole team. I got to give a lot of credit to Christy Sides. Got to give credit to Lynn Dunn for this. Like, I think Christy Sides is a terrible coach, but I'll never not give her credit for that. I got to give credit to all of these players. Because all it would have taken is one of them to crack, and it could have been an entire shit show. Got to give credit to Caitlin Clark. Got to give credit to Kelsey Mitchell, Erica Wheeler, Temi, Lexi Hull, Nalissa Smith, even Katie Lou and Christy Wallace. This is a team where it's like they showed that it was like everything was about the team. Everything was about the team. They didn't care what anyone said outside of the locker room. They were focused on themselves. They were focused on winning, and they were focused on doing their job to the best of their ability. And it's something that a lot of WNBA fans, a lot of WNBA media will shun and say it like it's a bad thing. And even now, you're seeing it. They're on Instagram. By the way, on Instagram, you can ignore comments. Like, on Twitter, you can't. And that's the biggest problem, is it's not even like an Instagram or TikTok thing. You can ignore everything. You can't ignore it on Twitter because of what Elon Musk has done. And you're even seeing, like say, Bree Turner. Bree Turner is a player for the Chicago Sky, and probably one of the only Chicago Sky players who hasn't, like, really crashed out. But this is what she's literally said. How I stay sane on Twitter: utilizing my mute button, utilizing block when necessary, muting word phrases, muting notifications for people I don't follow, switching reply settings based on what I have the capacity for. And that's completely fine. That is a completely fine thing. If you want to use social media and you're one of these players, you got to use responsibly. Because if you are just doom scrolling, especially if you're reading stuff about yourself and your entire timeline just becomes negative stuff about yourself, you're not gonna be good. It's not going to be easy. And like, especially if it's a lot of negative stuff, you're probably already feeling a little bit down yourself. It's just not fun. It's just not fun. It's not a good thing to do. And this team did a great job of sticking with it. And I think there are an awful lot of players. I don't think any of the terminally online players will ever join the Fever. And I will fully admit that. I don't think any of the terminally online players, your Dejanets, your entire Chicago Sky team, will ever play with Caitlin Clark. And I also, by the way, don't think a terminally online player will ever play with Angel Reese. It'll be too much for them, and that's fine. They can go to franchises where nobody cares. Good or bad, no one cares. But what I do think is there are players that can see the writing on the wall with how good this team's going to be, with all the marketing opportunities, and will want to be on this Indiana team. And especially when you've got players like Clark, like Kelsey Mitchell, like Aaliyah Boston. And I do, again, want to just shout out how likable this entire team is. And that includes, I don't know anything about Saxon. That includes Nalissa Smith, who probably had it harder than anyone to actually deal with the crap, because at times her girlfriend and brother were instigating the crap. So anyway, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.